Sci-fi Express Lane on Route 10 in Florida on my way to Urban Nerd Con. It's about to go dig it down. But this is Sci-Fi Express Lane. It's your host, Jeff Carroll. Today I want to just tell the comic book fanboys, okay, whose world they're in, right? So I've had a couple of conversations really sparked by this Wakanda Forever trailer, and there's been a whole lot of stuff that happened in the trailer that sparked conversation, and I'm mostly talking to like black fanboys. Hate to separate things because normally I just talk sci-fi, and I'll put black people in it or talk as a black sci-fi writer. But in this particular time, I've talked to a couple of black fanboys, and it's interesting because diversity has been in place because of black demands for inclusion, and it's rare to see us be the ones that speak against diversity, right? And mind you, I say this is fanboys telling people what world it is, and I'm saying that because I want to frame the complaints and I want to frame the answer. I am in the conversation, so I have a similar view, but I also disagree in certain aspects, and you'll see that throughout this little commentary. But whose world do we all live in? We live in the greater mainstream world. Same thing with rap music, same thing with jazz, R&B, country. The greater music community is, I guess, popular music, but it's where everybody lives. Everybody eats off of that, out of that pie. Everybody gets a slice of that pie. Now, if you want to be a bigger or greedy slice, you will try to get as much of that pie as you can. Meaning, if you're a great horror film, you want to pull people that don't necessarily like horror, that may like Western. So you make a horror set in the Western. Now, these people may not like horror that much, but because it's set in the West, because it's set in the city, because it's a cyberpunk movie, or they got a popular actor and you're pulling in that actor's fans, it's about snatching up other slices of pie and trying to get the biggest slice. So, when Marvel or DC or hell, any brand, it could be Star Wars, when they make a move for diversity, when they make a move for sexual inclusion, right? Gender inclusion, you can see it as pandering, whatever you want, but we all live in that greater world. Now, you can say, oh, I don't want them to make Submariner Mexican or Aztec, all you want. But if they want to make that jump to get more slices of the pie, make more money, bring in more fans, whatever the hell it is, my thing is fall back, because understand you a small slice of the pie. People ain't coming into your pie. You understand? It ain't mainstream people. Oh, we're going to make a superhero movie. No, this is a superhero community trying to expand their audience. Now, do I like them or not? Not always do I like them. I have rules, right? You seen I watched that movie, Mr. Malcolm's Rules. Well, I have rules as well, and they're not clearly defined, and perhaps I should take some time and write my rules out. Maybe I'll do that one morning in the hotel. But my rules kind of based around how it is used in the story. Does it make the story better, or does it just happen out of nowhere? does it have anything to do with the damn story? That seems like it's a big problem with the inclusion of sexual variations. You know, when you want to have a gay character or a transgender character, it just seems like many times they pop out of the blue with that stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with the story, or it doesn't affect their narrative. It doesn't affect who they save. To me, that's problematic. Now, if it is usable in the story where Black Panther had one of the Infinity Stones, and Thanos had to come to Wakanda to get it, and the battle took place there, that's not pandering. Sure, it gave Wakanda some shine, but it's not pandering. Or it's not a problem for me, right? So now it comes the character racial switches. I think it's very hard for Marvel or DC to continue to put out characters that are the same as when they created them from the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, when things were white and it was just accepted as white. That said, I do not think it is an easy thing to do to just switch the race of a beloved character. Now, that said, really, really fake characters, which are not a Peter Parker who actually lives in New York, but say somebody like Mutant, whatever the one is, the Mutant Avenger, or a character from another planet. To me, it's easier to switch those races because they're from somewhere else. Their history and stuff on Earth is not necessarily the same as somebody like Clark Kent, somebody like Captain America. Well, Clark Kent's an alien. I'm sorry. Captain America or Bruce Wayne, which is a real dynamic shift. If you make Bruce Wayne anything other than a white man, you have to change everything except Batman's name. And, you know, that goes all the way down to the Joker and his villains. Okay, because I think he would have other villains. They would have other... It's a catastrophic... a change would set off a cascade of changes, right? Now, when I look at what goes on in the comic books, I love those stories. Don't get me wrong. Some of them, I would say 80%. There's some that I think are trash and that fanboys like just because they're married to them in the story. I like the changes they made to Watchmen, and that's not a DC or Marvel story, but when the Watchmen came out, I liked the way they changed the ending. It kind of made more sense, right? They got rid of the big space, the space octopus, and put in an atomic bomb blast or something like that. Now, they kept the space octopus in Suicide Squad and Doctor Strange, but those are different types of stories. They had already set up that they were multi-dimensional, at least with Doctor Strange. It felt kind of weird in them fighting a giant starfish in Suicide Squad, but again, Suicide Squad already had a talking shark that didn't really go down as a mutant. It was just weird. Oh my God, that's crazy. All right, they just jumped past social reaction. But anyway, I'm gonna get into Namor, right? Supposed to be from Atlantis, which we already know it can't be Atlantis, because even though DC and Marvel aren't in the same universes, they still compete. They still try to differentiate similar characters, like the Doctor Strange character in Marvel is also in DC, and he's older in DC, but his name isn't Doctor Strange. I forgot his name. Anyway, they're changing him all up to bring him into the DCU. All right. In you also have like Atom, and you have Ant-Man. They have Flash, they have Quicksilver, and they got a bunch of other fast people in Marvel. But you take Aquaman and Submariner, Aquaman got Atlantis. I don't have no problem with them moving on away from Atlantis just to differentiate, right? However, I think the fallen Mexican Aztec city is a beautiful start. They found another city that they could submerge and create some rumors around, similar to Atlantis. I remember when they were talking about Wonder Woman, what type of Amazons was she? You know, Amazon is a river in South America, but yet the Amazons are a Greek isle, you know? So you wonder, what the heck is going on? I think history is screwed up anyway, so I think a lot of history is a bunch of lies and copied stuff in the first place, you know? I think that about the Greek gods. I think that about the leprechaun. You know, these are stories made up from real people that history already lied about or copied about, right? So I don't have a problem with some of this because I don't respect the foundation history, especially around something like Atlantis, especially around the Isle of Amazon women. I think they were really trying to imitate the Dahomey women, which become the Dora Milaje in Wakanda. So that's why I don't have no problem with that. Now, with Submariner, I think, you know, being Mexican was a good look. Who cares? Submariner is supposedly, you know, from the top side and the bottom side of Earth, but he's also from a mysterious place. And that mysterious place could be a Mexican place or a South and Central America place. So what's the problem? And, you know, they designed his outfit to look very similar. It is what it is. I mean, I think there are definitely some storylines that have to be adjusted, but I think they're not changes as much as they are improvements. Giving him a culture and a city or people on Earth gives more connectiveness to the character, to Submariner. And mind you, I'm not Mexican, I ain't Aztec, I respect the culture, but it is what it is. If they'd have made him Indian, you know, get in where you fit in. It's not like they changed the thing and made him Mexican. That would have been a hard swing. They gave Submariner, who ain't been in the MCU, a chance to see what it's worth. I'm willing to give it a try. I just think fanboys sometimes get overly controlling, where everything that happened in the comic books has to happen the exact way in the movies. And I don't think that's good, because we've already seen the stories in the movies, and I mean the comic books. And, you know, I'm a comic book reader, so I'm answering it for myself. I don't always want to see the exact same story in the comic books. Now, if the comic books have a good storyline, like Thanos, I'm down. But you can still switch it up as long as he's still Thanos. He's got the same energy. I'm down with it. But some fanboys and girls, right, fan people, they fan too hard, and I think it's just unrealistic. And I say that because I'm happy that fanboys don't get all of what they want with the stories in the comic books, because I think it would really be boring. It'd be, you know, there's some stories like The Watchmen that in V for Vendetta that was comic books and books first, and there's a whole lot of stories that are book first. But with comic books, if they have a chance, because the source material is so old and a lot of it is dated, the character behaviors is dated, that for them to remix it, I'm all for it. I like remixes when they was in music. I really wouldn't like SWV as much if it wasn't for the remixes to their stuff. So anyway, this is Jeff Carroll. I just wanted to sound off a little bit on these fanboys that happen to be black now, and just, you know, offer them another angle. So please do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Sci-Fi Express Lane, Jeff Carroll out.